After a Sunday of not having to watch the Chicago Bears completely, utterly fail and disappoint me, I have a different perspective on what and how I want this season to end for the Chicago Bears. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Plus, Jaylon Johnson makes it known that he wants an offensive-minded head coach for the Chicago Bears and the reason why. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. All that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And you know what? I come with prepared topics and sometimes analytics and things like that. I just want to talk to you guys, Bears to Bears fan, for a while. You know, the going through this Sunday, with the Bears playing on Thursday, not playing this Sunday, and not really having to worry or get my emotions up or down based off what the Chicago Bears did or did not do in a game, it added a perspective that I'm just ready for the season to end. And I know a lot of Bears fans are in that position as well, understandably so. But I'm not. It's not that I'm necessarily ready for it to end just because I'm necessarily done with the season. But I'm ready to see what this front office truly does to get to work. Right. That's the important thing about this. And I know there are some Bears fans, there have been a lot of articles over the last couple of days that the thing that's going to add, a silver lining to the season or, a bright spot for the Bears heading to the offseason is the firing of Ryan Poles. That's out of our control. Whatever happened, Kevin Warren has already kind of alluded to Ryan Poles, or basically flat out said that Ryan Poles is going to be the point man. Now, if the Bears continue struggles, anything can change at any given time. But even more so than that, I am excited to see what this front, regardless of who's leading it. What are you going to do to right this ship, right? Yes, we know we have a big decision to make with the head coach. Shortly after that, we're going to get the coaching staff in place. But then after that the new head coach, after the coaching staff is in place, at that point in time, it's balls to the wall. Meaning the Bears have so much that they really need to look at this offseason that they don't have time for time off, right? And I know people are going to want to say, well, let's see the Bears get ahead of it. Are they going to say something? What are they going to talk about? I mean, we're going to have press conferences. We're going to have press conferences after the new head coach is hired. Probably going to have press conferences after the DC and OC are hired. And I really don't give a shit what they say. Now, because you know what it is at this point? I'm tired of talk. And yeah, the new head coach is going to come in. They're going to talk. Ryan Poles, whoever the GM is, they're going to talk about why they hired the guy, why they feel like that's the right guy to lead this team, how the interview went, how they felt like coming out of that interview process, they found the right guy to lead the Chicago Bears into the next phase or whatever it is. I can already tell you what's going to be said at the press conferences. I'm excited to see the work part of it, right? Because that's the thing that matters the most. What are the actions that are done this offseason? And like I said, I know that some Bears fans are going to say, well, if the action isn't firing Ryan Poles, what are we doing? I don't like not to say I don't care, because if that were to happen, it would be a monumental shift for this team and stand on business if that's what you want to do. But that is the most important thing for the team this offseason is how do you stand on business? That's it. That's what I want to see for this team this season, this offseason. Do you stand on business? Because that's what we have failed to do. And don't get me wrong, to a certain extent, we can only know how much they really stood on business after the season is said and done. That's the main part time we're going to be able to see what they did is when the Bears are on the football field, because moves can look good in the offseason. Moves can look solid. Moves can look like they're the right move to make. All that can look really good. And we've done some things that have looked good on paper before. I'm tired of looking good on paper, and then when we get to the football games in the season, we're ended up disappointingly every step of the way. This is an offseason where it's about standing on business. For everyone who, like I said, whoever is in whatever position, how well are you standing on business? How much are you really tired of what you went through this season? How much have you really learned from what you went through this season? And I get it. The McCaskies are going to be the McCaskies. It sucks that we have an ownership group that is as out of touch as what it is. But like I've said to people before, and this is not to say you guys that want to keep pushing the McCaskies sell the team, great. Keep doing it. I hope that, listen, if you are able to get something done in that, great. I just don't think it's very likely that the McCaskies are selling the Bears anytime soon, probably within our lifetime. But with that said, stand on business. You put people in position between Kevin Warren, Ryan Poles, whoever, whatever it is, you got to stand on business. This team, for so far too long, us as Bear fans have had to deal with scraps, meaning that we take, we appreciate the little bit of things that we get. But the fact is that we haven't won a Super Bowl in my lifetime. I'm 38 years old, meaning that any Bears fan that is younger than me hasn't seen their Bears. Like, I at least got to see the Bears make a couple of Super Bowls. I haven't gotten to see them win a goddamn Super Bowl. There's some Bears fans that don't even have that, right? My son is 18 years old. He's barely gotten to see them. Like I said before, he's not even a Bears fan because why would he root for a team that's been in poverty for the most part? We're going to rein him back in. Make no mistake about it. We're going to get him back on the right side of shit. But it's just it's such a disappointing factor of where you sit right now, where this Bears team continues to go. Because listen, we got some glimmer. I'm not going to act like this season. I know that the win-loss record, the results are the thing that matters the most for most people, and you're right for that. But there are still some things we can take away from the season that we can build upon that haven't gone completely left. But the fact of the matter is that you're still looking at this team like, where have we really gone? When it comes down to it, you can have all the talent in the world, right? But if you're not winning football games, how much talent do you really have, right? And that's where a lot of Bears fans are going to sit with all of this until the Bears are winning consistently. All that other stuff is really just noise for a lot of Bears fans. And I can completely and utterly understand that because, again, like I said before, this is a results-based league. If you aren't going to get the benefit of the doubt for keep making moves that look good on paper. Eventually, you got to make some actual good moves that actually improve your football team and you start winning some games. And until that happens, what are we really doing? And that's where a lot of people are going to have questions about this Bears team. What are the Bears really accomplishing in the grand scheme of things? And for a lot of Bears fans, they're going to look at that and say, nothing. Right? The Bears aren't accomplishing a goddamn thing because what have we really done? Nothing. And we can be fed up as fans, but until we get people that are in charge that care as much as what Bears fans do, what are we going to do? Right? You got to care more about putting a winning product out than anything else. And that's where Ryan Poles has failed at because you get so attached to your guys. Velus should have been gone. Nate Davis, I get it. You cut him when you can. He didn't play a lot of times for you, but listen, there are so many red flags. And I hope that if Ryan Poles did not learn to do better, discovery on who you're going to sign, do better research on who you're going to sign, because, hey, I've heard from a lot of Titans fans over the last year or so since we signed Nate Davis. And basically everything that they said, hey, man, you need to worry about this because Nate Davis, this has all basically become true. So why is it that fans have seen that, but a guy like Ryan Poles could not? That's where his evaluation failed. And then, like I said, looking back at this draft, some of those draft picks are mad questionable. Kieran Amagaje is a questionable pick, right? Now, he has time. He's still young enough and raw enough to where he can turn that around. But Zach Pickens looks like another loss by Ryan Poles as far as evaluation. We got to stop losing the evaluation, and that's why you do see so many people right now ready to say Ryan Poles has to go. And I understand every factor that the Bears right now seem hopeless. Bears fans are hopeless. Now, like I said, we got some things that we can build off on. We still got some talent on this team. I'm not somebody who, because I'm upset with how the season's gone, I'm going to lose perspective on the fact that we do have some talent. We do have some talent, but like I said, all the talent in the world, if you're not winning games, it really doesn't matter. The Bears have a reputation problem. And, you can only fix that by winning games. But you also have a competence problem. Like I once called the Chicago Bulls generationally incompetent, and that kind of got taken by a lot of other bigger sources. Now they're getting credit for it, but I was the first to say it. Go and research it. But the Bears are right along there with it. And it's funny that the city of Chicago right now is in such a bad spot when it comes to our sports teams because our ownership groups really, is it like you have to question, are they as passionate that needs to be to get shit done? Or is it just that because they aren't passionate, they just keep hiring the wrong people, right? Or are they getting swindled? But I don't know. Either way, listen, at some point, the shit got to stop. And so hopefully this is an offseason where I'm really looking at how much work are you willing to put in? How much work are you truly willing to put in to get this shit together? Because if you're not willing to put in the work that's necessary to really correct where the Chicago Bears are, we can do all the complaining, we can do all that we want to, but if you don't have the right people in the right position that aren't learning from their mistakes, and every GM is going to make mistakes, If they're not learning from it, we're going to keep having the same conversation. We're just going to have a different level of renewed faith every time there's a new shiny quarterback or new shiny position or new shiny head coach, and it's just going to go to the same exact shit that it's been in for the last 3 decades. 3, right? And we've had some bright spots. We've had some winning seasons over the time, but what have we really accomplished? And I get it. Only one team can win the Super Bowl every year. And so I put that it's not just about winning Super Bowls, but how many times have we even really felt like we had a real chance to win a Super Bowl, right? How many times have it felt like we really could be a team that could really win a Super Bowl, right? Outside of the Devin Hester returning a kickoff on the opening of a Super Bowl, how many times other than that has it really felt like the Bears have been in it, and it was only in a chance, because I guarantee you most Bears fans did not think the Bears were going to make a Super Bowl heading into that playoffs. How many times have we really been there? Not very many, not in my lifetime. Again, 38 years, almost 4 decades on this planet. Bears fans are tired, but until we get people that are in the position enough to be tired as well, hey, what are we doing? Ryan Poles may get a chance to correct this wrong. It seems like he is, and I hope for God that he doesn't. Not because it's all of a sudden this magic thing about Ryan Poles, but I hope that anybody who's in a position to run this team gets it right. But this is, make no mistake about it, if Ryan Poles gets a chance this offseason with 1 year left on his deal and the Bears have another disappointing season, the writing's pretty much on the wall. I don't know if they can bring Ryan Poles back after that. Like I said, we got to see what they're going to do this offseason. So I would love to be able to come back here at this time next year and say, hey, Ryan Poles, he really fixed a lot of what we were complaining about from year to year. I would love to be able to say that. But if you can't, get somebody in here that can. Right? Get somebody in here that can. Now, I'm a bit worried, especially with hiring a new coach. If Ryan Poles does, is the new coach going to be in alignment with the new GM? Let's hope so if that ends up happening. But that's in the end. That's a question that Kevin Warren got to decide on. Right? And make no mistake about it, that is a Kevin Warren decision. Whether Ryan Poles keeps his job or not, that is a Kevin Warren decision. And so let's see. Let's see what's going to happen here. But one of the biggest questions that it has and biggest decisions that's left to be made is what's going to happen with the new head coach. And Jaylon Johnson has been very verbal. He even had a list of people, but he talked about why he would want a offensive-minded head coach to come in here. He says this, I stand on it. Caleb is going to need some stability. I know, of course, throughout my career, quarterbacks haven't had stability here in Chicago. I was here when Justin got drafted, seeing everything he went through with different head coaches, different OCs almost every year. That's not something that is ideal. Not to talk about old news, but I'm sure if Justin was able to have a certain level of stability with head coach and at least offensive coordinator, things like that, I think there's a certain level of success with those top-level quarterbacks to get brought in here. It doesn't matter if you're drafting number 1 overall or the last pick with Brock Purdy. If you don't have stability, if you don't have somebody who's going to be here for a long time that you can develop with and grow and learn a system, then it's not going to be good for that team. At the end of the day, we all need a quarterback to lead our team and to put up points. I don't think there's any team that won a Super Bowl that didn't have a quarterback to get them there. To me, it starts with stability and having a head coach or offensive coordinator that you can build with. And so that's a lot to be said. Jaylon Johnson has been very vocal on wanting a leader of men, right? And that's something that keeps reverberating through this franchise, is that they want a leader of men in that position, right? And, that's good. Jaylon Johnson also goes on to add this. I do think that Caleb should have some input as far as who he likes, what he likes about them, and ultimately the decision makers have got to make their decision. So that's going to bring about a whole new level of conversation, because I know there are Bears fans that a contingent of Bears fans that at this point are going to just bitch about Caleb Williams, right? And because Caleb didn't do this, or he's not looking generational, or we should have just kept Justin. At this point, Caleb is here, right? And that is what it is. When Justin was here, what did we say here at Chicago Bears Central? We would have loved to see Justin get a chance with the improved weapons that they brought in here. But guess what? At some point, you got to move on. Caleb Williams is now the quarterback. He should have everything at his disposal to help his development the most, right? And that's not just weapons. It's also how those weapons are used and the people that are organizing and coming up with the scheme that those weapons are going to be in. And it seems like Jaylon Johnson has a mindset that's about the larger picture of the team, and he understands, right? Because think about all the quarterbacks that he's seen come through here. Jaylon Johnson has basically been here from Mitch through Caleb, right? And he's seen the instability that's here. And that's the thing in all of this. Even in the first little rant that I had, this Bears organization, we don't have stability. We have not had stability, right? Whether even if we have GMs that are here for a while, the coaches, the offensive coordinator change, like the water, like the weather, right? So you do want that stability. And I don't know if a franchise can have success by as much change with the coaching staff as what the Bears have. That is why getting this head coaching decision is one of the most important things this offseason. You got to get it right, because if you don't, you're going to have another instability. You're going to have more instability. You want to instill somebody who's going to be able to be here for a while, build and develop with these weapons. You got a lot of young players on this team. You want people that are going to be in place that are going to be able to build and develop with this team. Right? Jaylon Johnson specifically pointed out Cliff Kingsbury, Ben Johnson, Joe Brady. Those are specific head coaches that he mentioned. And he also said Mike Vrabel as a leader of men. Right? And so these are, of course, the names that we've already heard going around the Chicago Bears. You know, Pete Carroll has come up recently. Even the Bears saying that they do plan on doing something as far as sitting down with Pete Carroll, which, cool, great, whatever. Right? But like I've said many times before, I have my kind of thought process on who I would like the Bears to hire. You guys have your thought process on who you like the Bears to hire. But the most important thing, regardless of who they go with, is that he ends up being the right guy and he's given time to develop, right? Time to work with his team, time to instill something. I know we would like to think that one guy can come in and flip it, right? And that may happen because, you know, if this team and you get the right guy, you make the right moves this offseason. We've seen it in the NFL. The NFL is a place that's built to have, because there's so many different positions, that you can have a more turnaround if you just get the right guys in the right system at the right time, right? So the Bears could very well go from being the bottom of the NFC North to contending for a wild card spot next year with the right guy. But you still, to get the most out of that over time, you're going to have somebody who's given the time to develop, given the time to instill some things. That's what the Bears need here more than anything. They need the ability to instill some things with this team. And let's hope that they can get that. Let's really hope that the Bears can find that in this next coaching search. You know, like I said before, I have my concerns, I have my wants, I have my desires for this Bears team, but it's just about getting the right guy and putting the right pieces then and going out and getting the right pieces that then can use that guy's system. That's what it has to get and come to. So whether it's Ben Johnson, whether it's Joe Brady, whether it's Pete Carroll, whoever it is, right? Go out there and get the guy that's finally going to lead this team into a place. And the question that I want to have here, like Jaylon Johnson also points out, like Caleb should have an input. Now, I understand that Caleb is a rookie. He'll be going into his second year. And I do think that what Caleb thinks about the coach should matter, right? As far as like, hey, go sit down with Caleb after an interview with the front office. Go sit down with Caleb, have a conversation with Caleb, how you see him, envision using him, talk to him if you can, whatever it is. And then, hey, Caleb, so what did you think about your sit down with Ben? Oh, I like this about Ben. Ben seems like he really I like this concept of Ben's system. Yeah, you should do that. But ultimately, it has to be the decision that's made by Kevin Warren, Ryan Poles, whoever's making that decision, and they got to make the right one. That's the most important thing in this coaching search, is just getting the right guy. I don't care if they're a first-year guy. I don't care if they're a first-time head coach. I don't care if they're a veteran head coach. Get the guy that's actually going to get the most. And I don't give a shit that Matt Nagy was a first-time head coach. I don't give a shit about none of the other, because, listen, in thinking that, then we never hire anybody, because we've had veterans in there who've had coaches who have not worked. We've had first-time head coaches that have not worked. You can't go past failure or past success doesn't guarantee future failure or success. It's about getting the right guy at the right time in that moment and with the right team, with the right players around them and the right staff, right? Listen, getting the right head coach is going to be great. I can't wait to see what that hire is. But then the next thing, how do they fill out that staff? Because that's really, really important, especially if you lean to a coach that's more offensive minded. All right, who's their defensive coordinator? What is that defensive coordinator's strengths? What do they bring? Because you're not, like, I get it, as a head coach, you're high view on everything, right? But you still want to put people in place that you trust and that can do the job that you need them to do. So all in all, to bring it back to kind of my complaints at the beginning of this, at this offseason, and we cover every offseason, we stay daily during the offseason, and that's never going to change here at Chicago Bears Central. But this offseason, the thing that I'm really hoping that we have, not just restored faith, because like I said, my faith cannot be fully restored until we actually go out there and we're winning on the football field. You're not going to get any more from me. I'm probably not even going to do a win-loss prediction heading into next season. I'm not going to do it because I've gotten bamboozled before by talent or whatever else, or excitement around an offseason. I don't care about none of that. I'm probably not even going to do that. The guys can do it, but I'm probably not even going to get in on that. Maybe I'll moderate it. But at this point, right, the thing that I just want to see is, how do we move as an organization? Do we seem like an organization that has learned anything? Or are we just destined to make the same mistakes repeatedly, time after time again? Because I'm tired of it. The Bears have made the same mistakes. Regardless of the face that's making the decisions, the mistakes have largely stayed the same, like I said, for 3 decades. And it's time to get off the train, the wagon of failure. That's what we've been on, is on a wagon of failure. It's just been a different way that we failed every single time, but it's been failure all along, right? Go and talk to other fans of other teams and see how the Bears are looked at. It's a fucking joke. It's fun. Listen, we have some of the biggest, the most passionate fan base in all of football in a lot of ways. Well, one of the most. I won't say the most because, listen, Raiders fans are different. Cowboys fans are different. But we got a passionate fan base. We're one of the oldest organizations in the game. But we operate like such a small market mindset with a small market, a small market team with a small market mindset and small moves. I hope that this offseason things change and we can finally start riding this ship. That's my hope. You guys can let me know how you think and feel down below. Make sure you guys are following the show at Shy Bear Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and or voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related, thanks to you lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.